Hi, everyone, and welcome. This video will instruct you on how to use PRIVIT to ensure that student athletes have completed all required documentation and have been cleared by Varsity Health staff for participation. So to begin, please go to ualberta.privitprofile.ca, as you can see at the top here. This will take you to the home login screen. Please do not register for a new account. Your account has been set up for you already. Registering for a new account will create a student athlete account and not allow you to access the required information. If you do not have access to your account that has already been created for you, please contact a Varsity Health staff member. So we'll go ahead and log in here. Which will take you to a welcome message. Please have a quick read through this. It is the same welcome message that student athletes will see before they log in as well. And so this will take us to the home page where there's a number of different things that you can do from the home page. The most predominant thing you will use from this home page is the Manage Teams section. There are some reports that we won't go into today because you will not be required to create any reports. Messages. In the messages section is largely clearance statuses. So you can see all of those in the same place. You won't really need to manage any documentation. You won't need to create your own athlete's signature. You won't have any documents to print. The account settings is very general. It will allow you to do things like change your password and some other simple information like that. You can contact the therapy staff, which is the Varsity Health staff. And again, up here is another place to access things like your account settings, change your profile picture, quite simple. But as I mentioned, the main spot that you will be using will be this Manage Teams section. So we'll go into Manage Teams. And here you will see a list of all the teams that you have access to. For most of you, that will just be one. But if you have more access to more than one team, you'll see the full list here. Quite simple from this page. The only option is to click on members. So you can click on the members button right there. And this will now take you to a list of all student athletes that have registered themselves to the team you have access to. So one thing to note is that we cannot register a student athlete on PRIVIT. They must register themselves. And the instructions for the student athletes are sent directly to them on how to do that. This page right here is going to give you a snapshot of the status of all of the student athletes. As you can see, most things are color coded to give you a quick look at who is complete and who is not complete, and what types of things are missing. So we'll start over here from the left side. Of course, these are all the names. The example names I've created are related to whether or not that athlete is complete, clear, and or cleared. So that's why the names look a little bit funny. So you'll see a full list, alphabetical order on the left side here. Underneath each person's name is their emergency contact information. So if you ever need their emergency contact information, you can simply log into PRIVIT and visit this page, and you can have the emergency contact info for each student athlete. Also on the left-hand side is the main color-coded area that will give you an idea of whether or not a student athlete has completed all of their documentation and whether or not they have been cleared. The examples that you'll see here are that this individual who is green has completed everything and they are cleared. This individual who is blue is a bit of a unique color. They have completed all of their documentation, but a staff member from Varsity Health has gone into the system and not cleared them. And we will go into later how you can determine why they have not been cleared. Red means they have not completed all of their required documentation. And yellow means they've completed all of their required documentation, but they are waiting for a Varsity Health staff member to clear them based on the documentation they have submitted. When a student athlete completes all of their documentation, they are not automatically cleared. A Varsity Health staff member still has to go into the system, review all of their documentation, and then clear or not clear them. Only our Varsity Health staff takes on the responsibility. This is not something of clearing or not clearing. This is not something you will be asked to do. So now we can move on to the next section, which is called flagged information. Flagged information is just a brief snapshot of any important medical information about a student athlete that you would need to know very quickly. So in this list of 4 athletes, only one has flagged information. So we can click on this flag here, and a pop-up will show us what the flagged information is. Generally speaking, it will be things like significant medical conditions or allergies. So this student athlete has an allergy to Tylenol and peanuts. The next section over is their clearance status. Their clearance status is set by Varsity Health staff members, and this is an indication of whether or not the student athlete has been deemed safe to participate in sport with their applicable varsity program. This is not related to whether or not they have completed all of their documentation. So under the clearance status, we have 3 different things you'll see here. The first individual has been cleared. You can click on the word cleared and an explanation may come up. However, for the most part, there's no explanation required when somebody is cleared. The next 2, however, are not cleared, and generally speaking, we'll have some sort of explanation as to why. So we can click on this first individual and a message will pop up and we will see that they had an ACL surgery 4 weeks ago. So they are not safe to participate and they have not been cleared. The next individual, again, we can click and see why they haven't been cleared. This person reported an unresolved concussion, and we need them to consult with a Varsity Health staff member prior to their participation. The last individual says pending. The other thing that you will see here says needs update. Sometimes those are used interchangeably. And pending means that they are waiting for Varsity Health to either clear them or not clear them. And in this case, that's why they are yellow, because they have completed everything. For the most part, you will see any combination of clearance status and completion status. So these are most of the combinations you'll see, but you can see any combination you will think of. The next section we will go to is their status. And status is whether or not they have completed all of their required documentation. The 2 most prominent things you are looking for is either a green check mark or a red circle. A green check mark means they have completed all of their documentation and they have nothing else required to do. A red circle means they have not completed all of their documentation and they still need to complete some of those things before they can be cleared to participate. A couple of other specific images you'll see under this is the blue exclamation point. The blue exclamation point means they have completed all of their documentation, but they have not been cleared because of some reason indicated by Varsity Health. And as we know in this situation, it was because of a recent ACL surgery. So that is a unique one. At the very bottom, we will see a yellow exclamation point. That one means they have completed all of their documentation, but they have not yet been cleared by Varsity Health staff. This will happen when Varsity Health staff is still taking some time to review their submission to make sure that they are safe. For the most part, though, your role is to make sure that everybody has a green check mark. And if they don't and they have a red circle, we want to find out why. And we want to make sure that they complete all of that documentation. The easiest way to find out why a student athlete has a red circle is to simply click on it. And when you click on that red circle, a list of all of the documentation that they have not completed will come up. So here you can see that this student athlete has essentially not completed anything. And when you are speaking with that student athlete, you can tell them that they are missing all of this different documentation. The student athlete from their side of things on their profile can also see this information. So you're simply a cross-check and a reminder to the student athlete of which documentation they still need to complete. The last 2 columns will largely not be for use. The checklist is reviewed mostly by Varsity Health staff, and Varsity Health at this time does not use the incident reporting feature of PRIVIT, so you can disregard incidents. So this gives you an idea of how you can look at the main team page and understand who is cleared, not cleared, who has completed their documentation and not completed their documentation. The next thing that we will go into here is the student athlete's specific profile. So now you can enter the 3 dots here and you can click on athlete profile. As you can see here, you could remove the student athlete from the team. Please do not use this feature. That is for Varsity Health staff only. So we'll click on this student athlete's profile. And that will take us to the page that is specific to the student athlete. You can see their name up top, their email and or their parents' email. Of course, this is just my email. This is an example account. And then you can see all of the different sections involved in PRIVIT that the student athlete has to clear. You can review their medical history here. Again, you can review their clearance status right here. So we can see this in 2 different places. You can review their emergency information. So again, you can see this in 2 different places, their family physician. You can see their government health card information. You can see which teams they've joined. And the last thing that you can see is the documentation that they have completed. So this is another way to see which documentation has been completed. As you can see here, anything that would be gray indicates they have not yet completed it or they are missing signatures. So on our student athlete that has not completed all of their documentation, we would see some examples of gray documentation here. In this section, you are able to review the specific document for each individual. So we'll use PRIVIT Profile Medical History Summary as an example, and this will take you to a summary PDF document of all of their documentation. So you can review this, you can get to know your student athlete, their injury and illness history as you go through. This is not a required step for you, but it is a helpful step to be able to understand the injury and illness history of your student athlete. One thing that we'll note here is, for example, here is the information about that ACL injury that we referenced earlier for this student athlete. So now we can go back to their main page. And at that point, you are done reviewing this student athlete. So you can click done, and that will simply take you back to the main page where the student athlete is. From here, you can also download documentation. You can download an emergency report. This is probably the most important one that you might use. From here, you can select all the student athletes on your team, and you can download the emergency report as a PDF for all student athletes. So this has now taken you through your use of PRIVIT as it relates to ensuring that the student athlete has completed all their required documentation and to ensure that the student athlete has been cleared by Varsity Health staff prior to their participation. The last thing that I will show you is some troubleshooting for student athletes. So I will just log into my example student athlete account here. And what this will help you see is what the student athlete sees from their end. So we'll pick one of my example student athletes on the left here. We can pick incomplete and not cleared. So this individual, that's their name as well, and for this purposes, but this is what the student athlete sees. So the very first thing at the top that's important for you and the student athlete to know is that there is a huge orange box for any student athlete that has not completed all of their required documentation. If the student athlete hovers over that box, a pop-up comes up to show them all the documentation they are missing. So if you are speaking to a student athlete and they're saying, I'm not sure what I haven't completed, this is how they can quickly find out. The student athlete can also see whether or not they've been cleared by Varsity Health. In this instance, this athlete has not been cleared. If they hover over it, the explanation for why they haven't been cleared pops up, and it also encourages them to contact Varsity Health or our coordinator at the University of Alberta to understand why. When you look at the submission incomplete section and it says here, click for more details, if I click on this, it brings a pop-up that again shows all the documentation that the student athlete has not completed. And the student athlete can actually click on each one of these forms or smart forms to be able to go directly to that form and complete it right then and there. So here is our consent for disclosure of health information. They would be asked to read this entire form, and at the bottom, they would be asked to sign and submit that form. So this is the main spot that student athletes should go when they are trying to determine what documentation they are missing. Below that is how they can actually work through PRIVIT to complete all of their required documentation. So they need to join the appropriate team. They need to fill out a quick general information form, their personal details, which is largely demographics. They need to complete an EPPE questionnaire, and then they start to complete all the additional documentation required by Varsity Health. So you can see here that it is consent for disclosure, a mental wellness screen, a concussion health and education seminar. They need to upload a document indicating who their secondary insurance provider is, a form that indicates how they can complete their baseline impact concussion assessment. And then the last section they complete is a CCES e-learning portal. CCES is another required piece of information that the student athletes have to complete. That process is done outside of PRIVIT. However, PRIVIT just puts a button here for the student athlete so they can access it directly. The other two sections that are involved in PRIVIT for completion by the student athlete is to upload certain documentation for completion. And these are documents that are not embedded directly into PRIVIT. However, PRIVIT allows them to upload a photo or a PDF of that completion documentation so that they can prove they have completed it. So the student athlete will go to that upload document section. They will choose a file from their computer on a cell phone. It will allow them to take a picture. They pick which document type it is. CATT is a concussion education seminar. A CCES is drug education seminar. All first year and transfer student athletes must complete a physician form with their family doctor. So they would upload a picture of that. And the U of A baseline concussion form is completed with the team's student kinesiologists or team trainers, and a photo of that is also uploaded to the student athlete's profile. Lastly, the athlete can go to a section where they sign all documentation that they have not yet signed. So in this case, they haven't completed these forms, so they're unable to sign them. However, they have completed their medical history summary, so they could go in and sign that document from right here. The last thing to draw your attention to is, how does the student athlete get technical help? If the student athlete finds they're running into a glitch, or if they are unsure of how to navigate the system, they can always go to the top of the page here and click the Get Help button. The Get Help button takes them to PRIVIT's direct website, where they can watch, they can read how-to guides, they can watch tutorial videos. There's a good section on FAQs, and they can also submit a support ticket. And the support ticket can be very specific to their situation. They can add files and then submit it. And somebody from the PRIVIT help team will contact the student athlete directly to let them know how they can help. So that takes us to the end of our webinar on how to use PRIVIT Profile for student athletes. If you have any questions about this, please don't be afraid to contact a member of the Varsity Health staff. Thank you for watching.